Now we're going to talk about shuffles that are done on the table. This shuffle is called a riffle. This can also be done to your advantage, and I'll show you exactly how in the following few clips. The card on top is the 6 of clubs, and remember how in the overhand fashion I showed you how we can retain a card on top. I'm going to show you how to do that using this shuffle, and it looks like this. And you can see the 6 remains on top. Now the explanation for this is actually called the short shuffle. And what you're doing is just making sure the 6 goes back on top, just like that. Now one of the finesses of this move is that you're switching hands. That's what really enhances the illusion, is I'm shuffling here, and I'm holding back the 6 on my right hand and dropping it. Then I'm coming and pulling the bottom half to the right and letting the 6 fall on top from the left hand. So in the first section of it, you're cutting over to the right. You're shuffling legitimately, but holding back the 6. The 6 is right here because this is the top of the deck, and I'm making sure that falls. Then I'm pulling the bottom half to the right, so the 6 is on top of the left packet, and making sure that that remains on top during the shuffle. So once again, up to speed now that you know what's going on, is this. And that's how to retain the top card. You can use the short shuffle as well to maintain the position of a card on bottom. In this case, it's the 8 of spades. And all you have to do is make sure the 8 of spades falls first. Don't forget to alternate the packets. That really adds to the illusion. So as you can see, the 8 of spades is still on bottom of the deck. The riffle shuffle technique can be used to retain a block of cards, and that's called a stock. It can be retained on the top or on the bottom. I'm going to show you how it can be retained on the top. Right now I have the 4 aces on top of the deck. And in giving those a few shuffles, these cards will remain on top. And we'll give them a cut for fairness. Not really too fair, is it? The technique that I just did was the short shuffle again, but I added in a slip cut, which is a move that I'm going to be going into more description in the false blind shuffle section. But here's basically what's going on. I'll give you the idea now. Is the 4 aces are on top of the deck like I displayed, and in actuality a cheat would never keep 4 aces on top of the deck. I'm just doing this for demonstration so you can follow. That could be, say, a hand that I'm going to deal myself, or a sucker hand or something like that. So in shuffling, I'm retaining those 4 cards on the top, just like I explained earlier with the short shuffle. But then on the last shuffle, I'm adding 1 card on top of the aces. So let me show you exactly what's happening. The aces, I'll put face up so you can follow. The aces are here. I'm cutting these over to the right. And then as I shuffle, I'm adding 1 card. See, in this case it's the 9 of spades, on top of those aces. And then squaring up. So the rest of the cards are legitimately shuffled. But this stack remains intact. And then I square up fairly, and this is the real clincher of this move. This is called a slip cut. What I'm doing is dragging off the top card, just like that, to bring those aces back on top. So up to speed, face up, so you can see exactly what's happening. I start with the short shuffle, I add 1 card, and I slip cut. There's a way to blind shuffle on the table to make it look like the cards are being shuffled as well during that technique that I just showed you. And that's done exactly as I'm doing now. This is called a push-through shuffle. And every card maintains its position. This is the explanation of the push-through shuffle. Basically the shuffle is fair up to a point, and it looks like this. You pull over the cards to the right, just like that. And you begin a riffle shuffle, and what you want to do is let a block of cards fall from the left-hand packet first. I'll explain why in a second. So you cut the cards over to the right, let a block fall, and then interlace fairly. This is where you change positions. You want to have your pinkies on the upper right-hand corner of the right packet, and your left pinky and ring finger on the upper left-hand corner of the left packet. And you start to push together, and the shuffle is fair until this point. This is when you do the dirty work. Your right pinky and left pinky are going to be doing most of the move during the shuffle. The other fingers are going to be used as cover from the front so the move cannot be seen. The right pinky goes on this packet up at the right corner, and the left pinky goes on the other corner. The fingers need to remain together so no windows can be seen. Then you're going to start to turn this packet. Your pinky is going to put pressure up and out. That's going to cause the cards to make an X formation, just like that. This is completely covered by your fingers, and this is greatly exaggerated. Once you're here, you're going to use the left pinky and thumb to straighten out this packet, slightly pulling it to the left. So you have a jog here. These cards are all over to the side. This is when you're going to do the strip out, and this is one of the most important parts of the shuffle. You're going to move your left hand slightly over so your ring finger and thumb grip this packet. Then with this packet, you're just going to move slightly over so your middle finger and thumb are over here. You're going to pull the packets out like this, and as soon as they clear each other, you're going to apply pressure to both packets to make it look as if you just give the cards a square cut. This is what the push-through looks like up to speed from behind. I'd like to talk a little bit more about the finesse on the push-through shuffle. And basically the real finesse here is making the end cut look legitimate. Darwin Ortiz gave me a good tip about this, and that is to give it a second when you've already pushed through. Give it a second and let it go through their minds that the shuffle is complete. At this point, they relax, and at that point, that's when you want to hit them with the strip out. And with the strip out, here's an important point on it. You always want to have pressure down on the deck when you're doing the strip out. You want to have pressure down on both packets, and you do this with the index finger. You push down on both packets like that. So it actually looks like this just comes off the top, and then you complete the shuffle. Because if you don't push down, you'll get this. Let me show you exactly what it looks like when you don't push down. And I'll pause right there for you. And this is where the move is really exposed. This is when people can determine whether it's a push-through or a real shuffle. You need to push down on these packets and complete the cut. So once again, up to speed, this is how your push-through should look. Another way a table riffle can be falsified is by doing what's called the zero shuffle. And this is a shuffle originated by Herb Zero, and it looks exactly like this. This is as taught as he teaches it in the video Herb Zero on the Zero Shuffle. And no cards change position during that shuffle. Okay, and the basic idea behind the Zero Shuffle is this. I'm pulling out the middle packet and putting it right back in the middle, but I'm adding a little juice to it to make it look good. The illusion is very strong. This is one of the only moves that went from the magic world to the gambling world. You pull over the center block to the right, and you hold a break with your left thumb. You know exactly where these cards came from. You pretend to square by tapping the decks together. You begin the shuffle by dropping some cards from the left packet first. 3 or 4 cards will do. Then you begin to shuffle fairly. Once you get to your break, you need to make sure that all these cards fall in. At that point, you continue the shuffle by letting the cards drop from your left hand. Once you square the cards, you'll see that the cards immediately become unlaced. At that point, you want to turn the cards in and square, just like that. Here's what the move looks like up to speed from behind. Not a card has changed place. Another variation of the zero shuffle, I'm just going to mention one that I like to do a lot, is pulling out and doing the shuffle in sequence of 2. And by doing this, you can eliminate the slip cut, which is a move that a lot of people don't like. You cut from the bottom over to the right and shuffle fairly, letting a block from the left fall first, as I explained in the push-through shuffle. And then as you're nearing the top, you want to hold back 3 cards on this packet, and then let this packet go right below it. You square up, unweaving, so the cards are no longer weaved at this point, and push in this packet below those 3 cards. Now as you're pushing through, you want to lift up slightly with your thumb on this packet that's going in to maintain a break there, same break that we talked about earlier. Then you want to pull the cards all under your break to the right and do the shuffle exactly again, just holding back 3 cards and interlacing like that. And that way the cards will retain the same order as well. It's a 2-shuffle sequence variation of the zero. This is another method to falsify a riffle shuffle, and it's called the spider shuffle, and it's an original shuffle in that I created it, and it looks exactly like this. and in that sequence, no cards change place. This is the explanation of the spider shuffle, and as you can see, you know why it's called the spider shuffle. That's because my hands are in this position, but that's very important to the shuffle. These are the exact mechanics of it. I break the top half over to the right. You then interlace, but just barely touch the cards together. You don't want them to be deep, like this. That will make the strip out much harder. You gently interlace the cards, and this is where the important part comes in, your finger placement. You're going to put your index fingers on the corners of the deck like this, and your thumbs directly behind. Then you're going to put these, your knuckles of your index fingers, together. That completely shields the move from the front. Then with your right thumb, you're going to pull out this deck and unweave it. The deck goes right on top of the left-hand packet. This is the position I'm in at this point. Remember, all fingers are on the table at this point. It's important that all fingers are on the table. That's the main part. Now, what's actually shielding the unweaving is this part right here, this connection right in between my fingers. That's what's actually shielding the move. And what's happening is this. I'm unlacing and then just placing on top. That's all that's really happening. But with that extra cover and all my fingers, it makes it look much busier. And also the fact that I'm faking resistance as I push in. I'm faking that there's something actually pushing against, when in actuality there's nothing. And that's what you really want to work on with this shuffle, is the hand placement. That's the most important thing of this shuffle, and that's the spider shuffle.